show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings and, of course, to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at HiveMindCRM.io.
Man, in fact, there was a lot of members here in the Hive that came together, right, to put this deal together. And it's like one person ties it up, you know, they just follow the game plan and they get a great deal on a property, 3 acres, almost 3 acres. And so they tie it up on a contract and then they bring it to the Hive, right? So they just posted it onto the Hive membership Facebook group. And then another Hive member comes in and says, hey, I think I can move this. And then they sign a JV with a guy. And then now there are 2 or 3 people coming on board. And then they say, well, wait, we still can't find a buyer. Who has a buyer? And they went back to the Hive again. And in comes Ariana with the buyer. So she brought a buyer bringing in $50,000 down, right, to put on this $150,000 property. And so they had a week left to get this thing closed, right? So they threw it into the title company. Where? They're in San Antonio, my title company, of course, which Anthony is always talking about being a great team, and they are for sure. One phone call over there and they knew exactly they could put the most complicated deal together. Let me put it to you that way. Because I'm coming in there to buy this note, which will then fund out and allow the first Hive member to pay that money to the seller of the property. So then he's making his profit. The other group of Hive members that got involved, they make all their profit. There's I bet there's 40, 50, 60, there might be $60,000 or $70,000 in profit on this one deal. So I'm sending the money in next closing either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, as soon as my title company can get it closed and scheduled. They've been backed up, they say. So once that happens, everybody gets paid. Everybody's going to walk home with a big fat check. And that's what being a member in the HiveMind is all about. We all came together. Hey, this person does this person does that. Boom, we put a deal together. I love it. Love this place.
That is an amazing story. How many people are in that deal?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the buyer and the seller. 7 total people are going to, 6 people get paid money, right? 6 people walking home with a check. 1 person owns the property. So everybody wins.
That is quite a story, I will tell you.
Yeah.
So daisy chaining is okay in the Hive, apparently.
Daisy chaining. This is the only place I've been doing this for 40 years, right? The first thing I always see when I look at daisy chain is like, no, not going to work. As soon as I see daisy chain, no, not going to work. But this is the first place I've ever seen actually a daisy chain work. Why? Why is that though? Because we are all on the same page and we're all working together, going in the same motion. Normally daisy chains go, hey, I want mine, you take yours, but I want mine, and we don't care because we'll never see each other again. That's the problem with daisy chains. But in here, we're all going to work again. Why? Because they need me next time. I need them next time. Each of those people need each other next time because we're going to do more deals together. That's what's and over and over. That's what it's all about.
That is amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, we've had a fantastic week going back and forth. From New York to wherever. I mean, we're all over the place, right? and we're doing a deal down in a little place right north of Pleasanton, Texas. So that's amazing.
I feel like we're gonna have to bring that group together. Everybody that participated.
You know, we do, right? Right. Well, we'll do after we close. We should bring everybody together and play around with that story, because you know here's the thing. We every transaction, right? Every transaction, we all learn something. Yeah. And every transaction I do, I learn something new every single time. I'm doing a transaction now where we've been having a title issue, and I've been doing this for many, many years. I didn't know there was this thing you could order in the title company can order for you to find these missing documents. It was like, what? They have this? And I didn't know that existed until now. And I've got to get the name of it because it's a weird initial name. It's not one of these companies, you know, where that will just go through and find it. It's something more. I don't know. It's weird, but anyway, I've got to find out more about it. Anyway, we're all learning. Every single deal we learn.
Yeah. After the deal closes, do you have a closing date already, or is it still?
Yeah, it's going to be either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday as soon as they can get a schedule in.
Okay. That's amazing. Yeah, we definitely need to bring everybody back in to talk about that one, because we've had a story like this. Isn't the first one that's happened either. The last one that happened like this, there was like 4 people involved. It was like Alma, Anthony, Mike Novak, and I think there was one other person. There was like 4 people involved.
Lupe Sanchez.
Oh, Lupe.
Yeah, those deals work. I mean, but I'm telling you, I'm with you, Daniel. I've never seen daisy chain stuff work before, but here it does. It's amazing.
That's news to my ears. That's news to my ears. And like I said, daisy chains work as long as everybody's on the same page. And that's for everybody listening to this. Listen to this now or a year from now. They work if you make it work. Yeah. When you start fighting over who makes what, you're gonna kill the deal instantly. Greed
kills everything so fast. Hesitation and greed are the 2 things that I see kill so many deals. And not giving in sometimes either, because sometimes, hey, guess what? You might have picked out that new car, or you might have, you know, spent every last cent of this check that you're supposed to be getting on this next deal. And so you refuse to make that last concession where you got to give up another 2, 3, 4,000 on it. Still, you're walking away with God knows how much, you know, but because you got greedy, or because you already pre-spent it, or maybe you told your significant other, hey, we're going to have X amount of dollars, and now you don't want to look bad, or I don't know. There's a million reasons why people don't, you know, they're not open to like giving up that last little piece sometimes, but you have to, right? You just have to sometimes to make deals happen. And that's some of the deal killers I've seen. Hesitation, though, big time. Hey, maybe I need to think about this. Anything that makes you stop going forward means you are stopping the deal, period. You got to think about it. That stops the deal. And I have a real simple formula I teach people. It's very simple. You start something, and if you want to succeed, then you simply don't stop. But because that's what kills everything. We stop, we go forward, and then this is too hard. Or maybe this thing came up, it's a problem. Or, I'm going to go do this first and then I'll come back. That's stopping, and that's what kills so many deals. So we start, we go forward, and we finish the deal. Now we'll get sidetracked, right? We have things that come up and problems that come up. Those are the roadblocks that are not blocked if we can figure out a way around them. So we're always, you know, the game plan is, how do we get around this? How do we fix it? Or who do I know that I can call to fix this problem? Because every problem can be fixed, just about.
I'm really excited. We have to get everybody that was a part of that deal definitely together to talk about that deal, because I think a lot of people, they overthink and overlook a lot of the things that take place, and they'll get in the way. They'll get in the way of their own deal, and they'll kill their own deal. There's so many things that stop you from being successful, and usually it's you in the mirror.
Yeah, you look in the mirror for that big stop. I don't want to hog up the day. I'm sorry. I'm just having fun. You know, having fun in the Hive, and wanted to come in and chime in what's going on. Maybe help also motivate some others to take that first step and then bring the deal in. Let the Hive help you finish your deal. That's what we're here for.
I was on the call with Anthony, and like, you're not hogging up the conversation. I was on the call with Anthony, and Anthony is like, "Oh, what if we got this, and this?" I'm like, "Dude, I would just do what John Alexander does. I would just buy deals and have fun doing it. We literally talked about that like 30 minutes ago before the call started. And it's something so simple as far as just being consistent and don't get in your own way.
Daniel, I'd rather JV a deal than do the deal by myself. It's just so, your workload shrinks like enormously. Your responsibility, the weight you feel on the deal shrinks enormously. It's not like everything's on you. Hey, what if I can't do this? What if I can't do that? All that kind of disappears when you're JVing with other people. But also that workload is what's so big about the shrinking away.
So, and that you'll know the answer to this. So, the best way to do more deals is to share the workload, right?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
The best way to do more transactions per month is to share the workload either with your team or JVing with other people. Yeah,
it's all about having a team of some type. So if you're like me, I don't want an in-house team. I've had the in-house team. Great way to make a lot of money. If you're in it just to make money, that's really the way to go, right? But if you want a lot of freedom and you don't need, tremendous amounts of money, you just want a lot of money, then you could work JVs if nothing else. But you need to be working with other people for sure. If it's just on you, man, that's a lot of responsibility that you've got to carry on your own. And you can't do as many deals. I'm going to tell you this, where it makes up is because you can do more volume. So if you can do more, you can JV all day long, right? So you can do more and more deals. But if you just one man show the thing, you're going to have, you run out of room unless you really, really systemize. And the Hive really helps you do that, right? It does help you do deals. But think of this. If you're systemizing with a HiveMind CRM, how many more deals can you JV? Because you can do the same thing. You can bring those JV deals into the CRM system and work that way.
Yeah. Anthony, did you have input on that one? I know you tried to butt in a second ago.
I set up, because I like to do Facebook ads. So I just automated all the Facebook ads inside the CRM so that it answers all the preliminary questions, weeds out all the tire kickers that, you never hear back. Like 95% of your people answering your Facebook ad are duds, right? They're not going to answer you. I don't even know why they click. Is it still available? But they do, right? So, but you can set up the HiveMind workflow so that as those things come in, it can shoot back an answer to them. It can wait 30 seconds, right? So it feels like to them, it feels real. Shoots back, hey, cash or financing, little simple things like that. And then finally, so when it gets to the right answer, boom, that's when you come in. And now you're not wasting time with it. So there's a lot of, you can do that. So how many more deals can you? Now, if you're going to do that, great for JVs because you got a team all doing the same thing, and they can work. They can work different deals. So one person on the team or the JV per Facebook page can work that one, promotion. Then you switch it off, you go to the next deal, and you just rotate them out. You can do a lot of deals if you are JVing with other people.
So one thing I really want to hit on right there is you've self-automated responses that we are only talking to motivated sellers. So I when I do the podcast all the time, I'm like, you can set up the system to do this if you set it up right. And if you kind of understand your process of elimination of questions you're going to ask, and you can automate it to script all the questions you want, and you're only talking to motivated sellers at that point.
Right.
So what's your KPI for Facebook leads to contracts? Do you know that?
I don't even keep track of it. Yeah. Here's my KPI. Here's the KPI I work with. I'm looking for one buyer on every deal, and you don't get them every time, right? So I just did a promotion. Me and a JV, we bought a property for $1,000, and I'm advertising on Facebook. I put the first ad in at $25,000 with owner financing, right? And so if I got $1,000 down, I could owner finance the other. I'd be sitting good, but it's it's not in the best area. So yeah, I'm bringing the price down. So every week I'll bring the price down and reshoot it. All right. And for this reason, I really can't get KPIs because I'm doing weird experimentations on it because we got plenty of time to get it sold. So I do that. I'm just bringing it down $5,000 a week until I find my buyer that says, "Hey, I'll do that. 3,000 down," because that's what I'm asking. 3,000 down. That way, I know I have a buyer that will not stop making payments. But as I get closer, if I got all the way down to 5,000, then I'm really looking for cash. Give me 5,000, and I'm moving on. So we'll split the 4,000, 2,000 each, and we move on. So we can do that, and each of us can run ads on the Facebook ads on the other deals we're doing together. All right. So yeah, it's nice. You split everything up and then rotate out, because I'll do one ad on one property 1 week, and then I'll stop, even give that time to soak in and let other people find it. And then I'll go to the second ad and I'll run that one for that next week. And then I'll kill that one, go back to the first one, do a lower the price on that one, and wait the week out for that. The other one's soaking and bringing in the leftover people. Yeah, so that's the way I'm doing it.
Are you doing a boost, or are you actually?
Yeah, I boost everything. I do a $10 boost per, for 3 days. Just let it run for the 3 days. When I say week, I'm doing it on the weekend because I want to be dealing with it all the rest of the week.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, that's and this is your dispo side.
Yeah, that's our dispo side.
Yeah. That's the Facebook marketplace is so underappreciated.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a killer for bringing in buyers. Of course, the best thing, of course, it's still, to me, if you ask me, get a sign in front of that property somehow. If I go on Craigslist or somebody, but Facebook marketplace, and look for somebody who will put a sign up in front of that property. Signs sell like crazy. Yeah. Especially
in high traffic areas. No, that's dispositions.
It works in an even moderate thing, because people who live there see it and they know somebody who wants to buy, or people are visiting, they see it. So it can be fairly secluded, but where it doesn't work so well is like if you like an abandoned type of environment. Yeah, no. Or it's on a dirt road and, it's on a dead end road. Yeah, no, the sign's not going to work too well for you there. But again, you work for it, trying to find somebody locally, and then they refer people in. I took a call yesterday. I had a sign. I just never went back to take it down. I'm still getting calls off of it. So that's the other thing. You put a sign up, it goes forever. But it gives you ready buyers for that area too. So, you can target back into that area. I've had this guy call me like 2 or 3 times. Well, that's a buyer. That's somebody who's really seriously wanting to buy in that area, but he won't buy anywhere else. So we load up a list and you do a text blast into that area
to find a property for that buyer.
Yeah. So now we're hunting for properties for buyers we know we have.
And if you get enough, you can move it a lot quicker.
Yeah. And as you pick up builders, you're doing the same thing with builders. Okay. You know what their criteria is. You know where they are wanting to buy at. So get your list, skip trace it, upload it into the CRM, boom, blast it out until you find somebody. And don't worry that it's being blasted by other people or mailed by other people. Nothing. The secret to buying land is you happen to hit that person at the exact time out of the entire year that they're ready to respond. And if you hit them at any other time, they won't respond. It's just, this is why I train a lot of people, and I train them to go right into my own backyard. They hit deals that I've been hitting for years. They never responded to me. They respond to them. I'm going, wow. I'm going, man, I'm seeing all these deals that are bought in the same subdivisions I've been in for years. And yeah, I get enough deals on it, but all the other deals, other investors come in, they hit the same area and they're picking up deals in the same area. Why? Because when I mailed that day, they weren't ready. If I mailed 3 days later, maybe they would have said yes. Or when David or Javier or Anthony or Jessica, when you hit that, hey, let's text out, blast out to this person, that hits them at the right time that day. Maybe they just got through writing a check, for taxes. Maybe they've just got done with their kids out of school, or, something really kind of that was taking up their time is gone now. There's a million reasons. I had a call today. Lady called me up and she said, my husband came down with cancer and I got your card. She got my card last year and she's just now calling me. She called me today. She said, I just don't want to deal with this. I don't want this to end up in estate issues and problems. I just want to get rid of it. So that happens, right? So again, it's all about timing. And she is trying to get rid of a headache that she doesn't want. She's got enough trouble now with her husband dying, and a stupid, worthless lot in Texas is just another headache that just puts stress on a family situation already. They don't need it. They don't need it. So it's all about timing.
I'll agree 100% with that. A lot of people think it's the negotiations. I need to negotiate a good deal. And I'm like, no, it's timing. If you find somebody at the right time, they're going to sell it to you at a discounted rate. And that's just it. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's not about how good your negotiation skills are.
Yeah. Negotiation is this much to me, and timing is like this much. If somebody's really ready to sell, gosh, you can take an absolute beginner and just put it on the phone and say, hey, I'm willing to buy. And, if I can pay this price, will you sell? Boom. Yeah. They'll say, yeah, I'm ready to sell.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, speaking of, congrats on that deal, by the way. It makes my heart sing when I hear of all the people that come together to do deals. It's like, yeah, it's what we're all doing here. So I see people get stuck and I'm like, man, you got a whole group of friends that can help you take stuff down and move it. But speaking of giving stuff away, man, I'm looking at a deal right now. I don't know if you want to talk about this at a later time, or we can go over into it a little bit right now. I found a property today that I could take the mineral rights. It has a little bit of oil production, not a whole lot, sub 10,000. And they're willing to sell it with the property. I could easily take the land and resell it at the same price and just strip the oil off of it. But I wanted to know, as far as like the surface rights go, is something wrong with that property as far as like cutting it up into 10-acre ranchettes or anything like that? Is there a reason why people wouldn't be able to build houses there other than where the pipelines are running?
No, I don't even know really. Do you know even if there's any pipelines on there right now? Or there?
Yeah, I have a pipeline map for it. I can send you everything if you want to take a look at it and give me an opinion.
Okay. Yeah, usually with pipelines, there'll be a pipeline easement. It can be different lengths, different widths, and just in general, because you will all eventually run across these. I run across them all the time, especially if you're in Texas. If you could see the railroad commissioner's map of where all the gas pipelines run through Texas, it's like this total maze. You go, oh my God, I had no idea. It's like it makes highways look like they're nothing. It's just a jumble all through the state. It's incredible. But when you buy a property, if it's got a big pipeline of some kind going through it, they'll usually strip out, like it can easily be 100 feet. So wide. And so your property may be on it or goes through it or backs into it. And maybe that's the back end of your property. But the rule is that even though you're still buying the property, they've got the easement through it, which means you can't build on it, but you can use it. So like if you had a septic system out in this list, because it is oftentimes in the country, you could use it to spray your water from, out over onto the property. You just can't put a fence out there, or you can't build anything out there. And if you did, they'll come through and just bulldoze it down, because they have to have that clear. And what they do is they fly a plane. I think some of them are now going to drones, and they fly over there pretty often to make sure nobody's building on their pipeline easement. But yeah, you can still use it, but you can't build anything on it.
That's what I was curious about. So it's a 50-acre tract. So if there's still some available home sites, or you can't develop any of the land at all?
No, I mean 50 acres, you should have plenty of room there to develop on it.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, if nobody threw up a fence to kind of, like you said, ruin their access to the pumps, then I was wondering how usable the land is. So it'd be like a little house on the prairie type thing if you just want to throw up a house.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've done it when I used to do subdivisions. I had this one, and we had an oil rig on the last lot, and we just fenced, we just fenced it off, and we sold out the entire rest of the subdivision. I personally wouldn't want to live there because it was, the wind blows right. You're smelling that stuff, but eventually they stopped pumping at some point, and maybe that one did. I don't know. We didn't have any trouble selling the lots. If it stops pumping, there's no smell anymore.
Yeah. Cool thing about this one is it seems to be, really low compared to what's out there. Like the prices of steel, I think it's probably 50 to 60 cents on the dollar. So said, even if I bought it and sold it at the same price, it should be a way to hang on to those minerals, even though it's not a lot, but it's something that you could just capture for free.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's a lot of acreage. So that would be that could be a lucrative paycheck, if they hit oil or decide to drill again or go back in and reactivate the well by fracking or something.
That's what I was wondering about too. So I'm curious, like, of just capturing it as is, because it has been having consistent production for a really long time. I want to say like 80 years or something.
Well, I mean, are they selling you so they have they been getting a check off those mineral rights?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're including the mineral rights to you. So now you can just come in there. Did they tell you how much money you're going to get monthly off of the existing mineral rights?
They said $6,000 to $8,000 a year is what it averages.
Okay, so and it's probably old enough so that's probably an even number. So the first year or two, that number is really, really high, because the first 2 or 3 years they suck most of the oil or gas out of that well. And those are the big high paying period. And then, so it's like a curve, and then so it curves out like that. And then it's pretty well steady for another, God knows, it could go a long time. It can go 10, 20, 30. I had one that was pumping, I think 40 to 50 years. My very first deal came like that, Anthony, with the gas rights to it. And Sun Oil Company owned, what was the owner of the rig on it that was pumping the gas out. And, yeah, they just paid us like clockwork every month to check that this doesn't go away. It can fluctuate. And the other thing that can happen is they can turn it on and turn it off. So sometimes they won't pump gas or allow the pumping. So sometimes, like, if the price of oil or gas goes too far down, then they turn it off and they wait for prices to go back up. And when they do, it'll pump up a little bit and they'll get more production that first year. And so they more than make up for it. But those guys aren't in a hurry sometimes. They're not looking to give it away. So right now we've got high prices. So pretty much if something can be pumped, it's pumping right now.
Yeah, there's a whole, like, there's like 18 rigs, and they're on timers, I guess. So some are pumping at different times.
Yeah. That's incredible. Sounds like you got into an oil patch.
Yeah, man, and it's pretty cool property too. I actually liked it. I thought it was going to be like junk property, and I got there and I'm like, man, I really like this. And literally for the price, like I said, you could capture the oil rights for free, or might be able to even double up just on the surface rights, man, and keep the oil. So I'm just going to take a long, good look at it. I just wanted to get some advice. So I don't know if you want to try to partner on it. I'll send you everything, and you just tell me what maybe what you would recommend on it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the surface rights are another lease, basically, that they come back and they will create a lease with you, and you can make money yearly off that, as well as the oil rights royalties.
Amazing, man. It looks like a really, really good property. I'm pretty excited about it, but I just need to take a little deeper dive, because I'm going into a territory I've never been in.
If you're flipping land in Texas, this kind of thing will happen to you at some point. So, always keep your ear open to what's going on, because it will happen, and you're going to know, how to respond to it. You're going to know, hey, there's something here. Or maybe somebody says, hey, we've got this check coming in every month. Well, right now, if they're trying to sell you that cash flow, you already know now, off of what I just said earlier. I want to see the history of the checks, because what if they open that thing up 3 months out of the year and shut it down the rest of the time? Now you're overpaying for your oil rights. But once you know how much the cash flow is, then you know how much you're willing to pay for something.
Amazing. Okay, yeah, I'm excited, man. This is dope. I found some minerals over by Austin, but I don't think there's anything up there. But somebody told me, if you ever find anything south of San Antonio, make sure you hang on to those mineral rights. And sure enough, like, we hit a literal gold mine, like an oil mine.
Well, you can, and I did a training on this. In fact, it's on my YouTube channel about oil, about holding back the oil rights. For everybody who wants to go watch it, it's there and it's freely available. But you can go to the Railroad Commissioner's website for the state of Texas, and then but search for the Railroad Commissioner's website, or Railroad Commissioner's oil and gas GIS map. So just like they have a map for properties we look for, they have one for oil and gas, and they show you every single well and gas well, whether it's plugged, whether it's active, whether it's, blown out or whatever. They show it on this map. So you can zero in on any property you're looking at And you can find not only the well, but you can also find the owner of that well who's operating it. All right. Because the mineral rights belong to kind of all the people that own the property there. But there'll be an oil company tied to that's in charge of pulling the oil out and selling it, and then dispersing the check back to all of you who own the property. Because when you buy a property, you think you're buying the surface of the property, but you're buying a giant triangle or a slice of it that goes all the way to the center of the earth. That's what you're buying. So you own everything all the way down. And technically you're supposed to own everything going straight up. So it makes this giant triangle basically to the center of the earth all the way out. But so when you buy property, they'll pull the oil out and then pay you back your share of it. And they have to do it. It's not like they have a choice. So yeah, it's a nice way of making extra money. So going to that website, you can find, first of all, you can find what we call an oil patch. You'll see a bunch of wells in this whole area. It might be, the entire east side of, my county, for example, and you'll just see a ton of wells that have been drilled there. And suddenly they die off. There's nothing right outside that. And then it goes away, and then you see a bunch more just dots, which are the oil wells. And you say, oh, okay, well, if your property is in any of those areas where they have all those wells, then you potentially have oil royalty. Possibly you can get the royalty rights. Maybe you can't, but now it's on the table, right? There's something on the table there possibly for you. And then if you're not, and it's like nothing there, you certainly wouldn't ever want to pay for rights on something that's completely outside of oil patch. So the oil patch means it's where the active oil producing wells are actively at in like a giant oval or circle or however they happen to, appear on that map.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting about this one a little bit more. It's not the first time I come across it. Somebody actually from the Hive messaged me a few months ago, and they're like, hey, I know where there's 100 acres south of San Antonio producing, and the gentleman wants to keep half the rights and he'll sell the other half. And it was like sub $1 million, and the production was amazing. And just for a 100-acre tract at that price, I was like, golly. So it was like eight wins all stacked up on top of each other. And the guy let the lead sit for like 90 days. And he's like, man, I completely forgot to send it to you. I'm like, well, that's amazing. He had already sold it by the time he got to him.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, I have buyers for the oil patch. I mean, the oil rights too. So if you come across something, let me know if it's in Texas.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't mind them taking a look at this one. I've been trying to just collect them, but yeah, let's take a look at what a cash offer might look like on the rights as well.
Yeah, because right now is a great time to sell those rights because of the price of oil. At over $100, it's not going to stay there forever, right? So, but right now it certainly is.
What do you do? Do you keep them, or do you look at both options?
Oh, I try to always keep them if I can. So I'll strip them out, even if they're not inside an oil patch, because the thing about it is our technology is growing so fast. That who knows what they can come up with at some point.
Yeah, I agree. If you find the mineral, just snatch them up. Make sure you snatch them up.
And if you don't use them, pass them down to your children. They're not taxing you for them. So, and I'm not saying they don't tax you, because you will find mineral rights that are being taxed, but those are because it's actually in production.
Insane, man. This is great information. That's super, super cool.
Anthony.
Yo.
Oh, yeah. And also, too, like how you guys are like just talking about this. Like, I remember coming across some actual land in the past on Landglide that you can look for oil rigs on there too, including this website. And like you can see many of the rigs when you pretty much like zoom all the way in. You see many rigs that are actually like spread across, but they're towards kind of like towards West Texas, not towards like east a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, if you look at a Google map and go up to Midland, Odessa, and start there, you'll start to see all those little white dots, and every one of them is an oil rig. But if you look at that one from the Texas Railroad Commissioner, you'll see the horizontal wells too. So you'll see a straight little line. So you'll see a well, which is where they dig, and then you'll see like a little line that goes straight down. Some of those lines can be 4 or 5 miles long. All right, so they're drilling down and going 4 or 5 miles out sometimes, and they're stripping out all the oil from all of that property, and they own the oil rights to all, or they've gone and paid, the oil royalties to all the people under that strip and on each side of that strip.
Okay. Is it kind of like an injection line? Because I see a lot of the dry holes here that are by Palestine, Texas, and there's like a bunch of lines going down. There's a lot of like faded lines. There's some solid lines by Huey, Hanks, all these other people that own it.
Yeah, they're on the map. You'll see the legend, which will tell you what each of those things mean, and you can look and see exactly what. And actually, if you just zoom over it with your mouse, it'll pop up all the information on that rig right there on that oil well. So it can give you the a current operator's name and a little bit about the information about that well.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I see it. There's some railroad tracks nearby too, so we get to transport oil. Nice.
Hey, thanks, Daniel. I've got to run, but I always enjoy popping in when I can and share what I can with the group. And if you all have deals and you want to run something by me, don't hesitate to message me on Facebook. Message me on Facebook. That's the best way of contacting me. And let me know what it is that you're looking at, or if I can help you. So I love to buy notes. I love to create note. I love to have you create a note with your end buyer at closing, and then I come in and buy that note, so I can give you basically put the money on the table to pay the seller, and then you take your profit out of the down payment and what I put on the table.
Thanks a lot, John. That was a lot. That was a lot we covered in 40 minutes.
Yeah,
but, appreciate it, man. We'll set up a call whenever we close that deal next week, and we'll cover that deal.
Okay.
Where 7 Hive users got paid.
Yes. Back to that one. I love that one. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, John. Take care.
Thanks, Anthony. Thank you guys for putting this thing together. You guys have made my life a lot easier. And probably a lot of the other people in here a lot easier and a lot richer. So I can't thank you guys enough.
That's the goal.
Thank you, man. Thanks for being there since the beginning.
All right. He's gone. Man, we covered a lot right there, man. I'm really curious to hear about the huge daisy chain deal where 6 Hive users get paid. That's a lot of people.
Everybody's too busy making fun of daisy chains online, and I know you don't want to do anything illegal or immoral, but everybody's poking fun at them. And I'm like, man, if you have a deal, I don't care whose deal it is, bring it over here. Let me talk to somebody. Let's see what's going on. If it's a real deal, then yeah, let's take a look at as many as we can. So
we should make a motto called Daisy Chainers Get Paid.
I post that on my Facebook. I'll post Daisy Chainers Welcome. I'm sure the gurus are looking at me like, I hate this guy.
No, it's funny. No, there was a lot, man. If you came in late to that call, you're gonna have to listen to this replay somewhere. This is why
I keep thinking about this more and more. Is that it's surprisingly that more people aren't on these calls. I'm like, man, the people that are not showing up are missing out on some really, really good stuff. Like everything you just learned today on this call and heard today on this call. Like, golly, free oil rights. You know what I mean? Like, what? How else are you gonna learn that? Unless you get the deal yourself.
Yeah. Hey, Anthony.
Yo.
Are you guys doing a deal that's on like just mostly producing wells, but no plugged wells?
I didn't understand the question. I'm sorry.
Like, are you guys doing deals that are only they're they're basically in production, but they're not like looking to like just remove the plug from the well? They're looking to see how they can actually reproduce again, or just producing already?
We look at anything, man. I was trying to make $800K on a double close on a property where the oil wasn't even producing. So you just got to take it case by case basis. It's like looking at anything else. Like if you're looking at a house, at the roof, at the toilets, same thing with land, man. You just want to check, how much road does it have touching the property? If it does have oil, if there's production, like, can you get some kind of like environmental reports either from the oil company, or if you have to hire your own engineer to make sure that there's no kind of like contamination on property. Like John said, you can't throw up a house over their pipeline easement, so there's a lot of things that you have to consider when you're looking at land. But yeah, it doesn't matter if the wells are plugged, not plugged, that just all affects the price.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah, very rarely do people want to part with their mineral rights, but yeah, every now and then we'll come across them. And like John said, whenever you do find them, try to scrape them off before you flip the property. Because I think it's pretty good consensus in Texas that, if you do have mineral rights, people aren't going to convey those when they sell the property. So if you do come across them, just make it a point to capture those before you move on. I had a deal I sold over there by Austin, and I saw it had minerals on it. Actually, the title company called me and told me I was going to miss it. And somebody was real hot after the property. Like he was being really, really aggressive. And I'm like, I'll sell you the property at that price. I said, but I need to know one thing right now. Are you after just the land or are you after the minerals? I said, because you ain't buying the minerals. And he was like, no, just the land. So I sold it to him and kept the minerals. So pretty cool game, man. No matter what you come across, so yeah, give us a shot. Let us take a look at it for you if you don't know what to do.
So I'll mention this too, that if you're wholesaling in Texas, you can capture the minerals just by doing the transaction.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about on this one right here. Is I can buy the land, I can flip it. I think for a low profit, like maybe of 100K, maybe 200K, but on the high end, I could double up, right? So I can buy the property and then just 2x the cash, or just sell it at the exact same price, scrape the minerals, and make zero on it. So there's a lot of different strategies on this one because it's so low.
Yep.
But yeah, just for putting the deal together, I'll keep the minerals, to keep the oil production rights and the cash flow.
Yeah, for sure. That's just important.
Yeah, it's a little note, a little free note. Pretty cool. Yeah,
And
like
I'm
John
just
said,
curious if you want to keep the mineral rights for yourself and just assign the land. So you would need to do a double close, right? So in the second closing, like the B2C transaction, you will just transfer the rights for the land, but not the mineral rights, right? Or can you do an assignment in that way as well?
I think for this one, it's a double close because in the actual contract, they'll actually there's a conveyance that you have to sign over if you're conveying over the mineral rights or if you're not conveying the mineral rights. So I think it would be double close. Yep. And then, the crazy thing about this, all this is recorded in title. So if you're looking for properties that they don't know who the mineral rights is, you can actually go through the title search and find out who owns the mineral rights on it because it's going to be recorded in title. The owner and the mineral rights owner could be two totally different people. And it's all going to be recorded in title.
Hi, Daniel.
Yep.
This is Ann McCarty. So I've done a good bit of mineral work in Mississippi in particular. And at least in that state, you can reserve the minerals, whatever you may own. There may not be anything for you to own, but you can reserve them onto yourself or the LLC that you're buying in. And, there may not be any to reserve because it could have been reserved in the past. But at least in Mississippi, you can reserve them onto yourself if there are any. So
yeah, 100%. I heard of a place in Virginia, because Virginia has a lot of coal. In Virginia, back in I think it was the mid 1800s, they bought all the mineral rights in the area. So the only thing you're conveying is the land, and the state owns all the mineral rights for that whole area.
Right. So back in probably 1830 in Mississippi, minerals came to be, people knew about them and bought them up. So yeah, but you never know. There's a chance that you may be dealing with a property that you're getting 100% of the minerals, or maybe 50% if somebody retained 50%. You never know unless you do a title search. And those kind of title searches are very, very expensive. That's why I delved into it, because I didn't want to pay what I would have to pay to determine how many mineral acres our family owned in Mississippi. So I just learned to do it myself. Saved many thousands of dollars, but in the process, I found out that you can reserve them. You may not have anything to reserve, but you can reserve them unto yourself. So that's it. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for the information. No, it's kind of cool that you're self-taught a little bit. That's amazing.
Well, I'd already kind of gotten self-taught in about 1981 on doing title work, land, but not on minerals. But basically on minerals, you just have to look at the deed and see what it says in relation to minerals. So it can say all kind of stuff, that it's reserved for 10 years or it's reserved forever, or it's something. But anyway, take care. Thank you.
No, thank you.
No.
Anybody else have any questions for this?
Hi.
I have a question.
Go ahead, hit me.
I just wanted to share.
I think, we both chimed in. Okay, you can go first.
No, go on.
Okay, so I am having, and I talked a little bit about this on another call a couple weeks ago, but I'm hoping to get a little more guidance. I had bought 2 properties with a gas pipeline running through one of them. They're close together. And then on the other one, it's running, I believe, on part of it. That's what a realtor told me. I'm trying to find out how I called the county. They said that, there would have to be an easement, I guess, on it, but you could still build on it. But I'm curious as far as how I could see it or how I could, just, I guess, verify. And because I want to make sure that that information is disclosed, I guess, when it's being sold, because I'm probably going to have a realtor involved on selling it. And I'm concerned because of the whole gas pipeline thing.
So John Alexander kind of mentioned it on this call. There is I guess through the railroad, they have the GIS maps. There's GIS maps for pipelines that are accessible depending on the state. So you probably have to do a little research on what state it's in and where those are listed, and then that should be able to solve your problem. A good title company should be able to find all that information anyway when they do a title search.
They're going to find that there's a gas pipeline?
Yeah, if there's a gas pipeline, where the easements are, because that should be all recorded with the deed.
Right. I guess what I'm thinking about is when the property is being marketed.
I would have somebody do like a soft title search for you, just to make sure you have all the information before you sell it.
Okay.
Or before you buy it, to make sure you have all the information.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Go ahead, Loretta.
2 questions.
Hit me.
Is Ann still on the line? Ann, are you still here? I just kind of wanted to ask you a question, if you're still there.
Yes, I'm still here.
I found out months ago, since I'm into this lovely game of real estate that I'm loving and that I don't know a whole lot about. But anyway, that my family has mineral rights to property. And I guess the word would be an easement that they put on it for 200 years. And I'm wondering, is there anything that I can do with that easement that they can an easement be removed? That's what I want to know.
This is no legal advice for sure, but an easement basically gives someone the right to, cross your land or whatever. But mineral rights allow you to retain, minerals. So was it an easement or a mineral deed?
It sounds like a lease.
Well, according to my brother, he says it's an easement. I'm not sure. Finding all this out. We owned 100 acres of this land. My family did. It's in Arkansas, and they have the mineral rights. So I'm going to do a search.
There's a difference between mineral rights and an easement. So with mineral rights, like what oil companies do and what I did with our family land was I went down to what's called the patent. And it's when the United States of America deeded property to whoever. And if it was 200 years ago, it's, that's pretty close to the patent probably. So you will need to just trace that land back all the way to when it was deeded from the United States of America to whoever it was deeded to, and then just read those deeds. It's just kind of like a chain link fence or chain, one link to another. So you go from like who owns the land right now and then find out who they bought it from. You read that deed, but I like to print the deeds out where I can physically look at them. It's not on a computer screen because sometimes I miss things if it's on a screen or if it got cut off. So I print them off, and then a lot of minerals are transferred in a deed. And then you also have a mineral deed in addition to a land deed. Minerals, at least in Mississippi, can be retained on a land deed, or they can be retained or transferred on a mineral deed. So you'll have to do 2 different kind of searches. There's land records for land records, and then there's records for mineral deeds and royalties and leases. It's kind of like 2 different things. But if you find the county, just go there, and there's probably somebody that will help you. When you go to that county, you're liable to find a title researcher in that county courthouse. Ask them if they can help you learn to do that yourself. Or, like Daniel was saying, pay somebody to do it. But if you pay somebody to do it, you're not necessarily going to learn how to do it yourself. But if they might take you on and show you how they're doing it, and then you're like, oh, I got this. And then you can do a lot of the search yourself and then have them check it for you. You can look me up on Facebook. It's Ann Neal McCarty. I don't want to hog the conversation, but yeah, I'll be glad to help you however I can. Good luck on that. It sounds like you're onto something.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And one more question for everyone. I'm looking for a good title company. Does anyone have a good title company? Daniel, I know you guys do, but if somebody could just kind of put it in the chat for me.
What state?
I guess I want to do Texas.
What county?
Well, no, I don't want to do Texas. I want to do Georgia.
I'll send you one from Georgia. I have one.
Okay. All right.
Appreciate you coming out. I hope you all learned a bunch. I hope you all learned a lot. We do these calls every Monday and Thursday. So if you want to get added to these calls, you can text us at 210-972-1842. Just text the keyword Hive, Hive, and you'll get added to these calls. The next call is Monday at 5 Central. We appreciate you coming out. Replay will be out in a few days, so keep an eye out for it. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks.
The show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35 plus list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the skip trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.1listguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.